without doing something about the Dominion voting systems, I'm afraid that any and all good work will only have a 50% effective rate, or 60% effective rate, or it could fail totally. And I don't know how we get to that or around that, or I mean, we'd have to have like twice as many people vote Republican and as ever voted in the last election, and they still might find a way to, because I believe, it's rigged here.
Kristi, I think you're first on Dominion.
Sure. I'm happy to take that. I think there's a couple aspects to that. One, we saw in Georgia what happens when people believe an election is rigged and therefore don't get out and vote. We have to prevent Republicans and conservatives in Colorado from failing to vote because they believe the election is rigged, or I guarantee you we're going to lose whether it's rigged or whether we just don't get the votes. So we have to, and the state party has responsibility to prevent that from happening, from people believing their vote is worthless and there's no reason to try anymore and they shouldn't do that. So that's one side of it. On the other side, as you may imagine, as vice chairman of the party, you don't get to make all the decisions of the party. I love Ken Buck, work really well with him. However, he and I did differ on the state party's stand on how to handle election integrity, and Ken knows this. I believe the state party should have joined our county parties in Jefferson and Boulder who called for forensic audits of the Dominion voting machines. That would not have hurt us to ask for that. We should have asked for that. We should have stood by our counties. Those two county chairmen, very skilled, know what they're talking about when it comes to election integrity. They have a lot of people on the ground. They've done it for years. They know what they're talking about. And they were right to request a forensic audit. Now, would they have gotten that from the Boulder and Jefferson County Clerk's office? I think we know the answer to that. They asked for it and they were denied. However, there's a lot I actually can't say, especially because this is being recorded, but there are absolutely plans in the works to ensure that the state party focuses on election integrity and works with the chairs who know what they're talking about, spreads their knowledge and ability to focus on election integrity and find any fraud that exists around the state. These chairmen who are very skilled at that want to spread their program around the state to help other counties know how to catch fraud when it happens, because if we caught it sooner in many instances, we'd be able to challenge it. That's a huge issue. So the state party should spread those kind of committees around the state. I absolutely am planning on doing that. And then there's a lot of behind the scenes work we can do to figure out what really went on and pursue the idea of forensic audits. Again, I think that work needs to be behind the scenes, and I'd be happy to talk about it in personal conversation.
Sort of frustrating. You asked Secretary of State and I left, and now things are falling to shit.
Should have stayed.
Yeah. Look, here's how we audit Dominion. Under the Colorado Open Records Act, we're able to get ballots, and we're able to get ballot images up to 25 months after the election. I've worked with Nick Liebenstein in Broomfield already, and he has the ballot images from the 2018 election. And obviously we have time to get it for the 2020 election. Once we have those images, we count them. What I've encouraged some of the clerks to do, or some of our county party chairs, and I know they've spoken to the clerks, is to be able to get a company called Clear Ballots. So here's how it works. In Colorado, 60 counties have Dominion. 2 do hand counts. They're like the really super small counties. And then 2 do Clear Ballots. So Clear Ballot and Dominion are the 2 systems we have in the state of Colorado. Clear Ballot is used in, I know I'm a geek on election integrity. This is what you need. In Douglas and Garfield, Clear Ballot started off as an auditing company. That's what they started as. So they can take ballot images, they can take ballots from other companies and run them through the equipment, their equipment, to see how the tabulation occurred. Because tabulation, that's the most verifiable part of an election. So I know Broomfield is looking to do that, and we already have the ballot images there. I know Jeffco's been working on it. Merle down in Douglas County, he's willing to sort of push Clear Ballot to help out. If that fails, you can always do a hand recount. That's tough. It takes a lot of effort and time. I did it before. When I was Secretary of State, I had to sue a county clerk in order to go in there and audit and do a hand recount of what the ES&S system. So I know of what I speak here, and I'm fine talking about it. And so that's what we need to do where possible. That will enable us to do one of two things. We'll either say, okay, well, Dominion did it straight, or there truly was massive election fraud, or maybe some election fraud, with respect to the tabulation process. And I think we need to do that in order to restore confidence. I believe, and I have spoken to him, Chuck Broman, the clerk and recorder down in El Paso County, we'll see if he does it, but he may be doing that exact process for his ballots for the 2020 election, for the presidential campaign, for El Paso County, to run them through this auditing. The good thing that we have in Colorado is we have paper ballots. Okay, we do risk limiting audits. They're actually the most sophisticated in the country, and they've shown that Dominion's okay. But I still think that a full audit would be appropriate. And when I say audit, I don't mean like a risk limiting audit. I don't mean taking a couple. I mean looking at every single ballot and recounting every single ballot. So I've done that before when I had the authority as Secretary of State. I know how we need to do it. With respect to Boulder, they have, their volunteer efforts were the most sophisticated I've seen in 20 years, what their party has done. They actually did great work, really good work. And I worked with them while they were doing it and helped them out. And I think that, and they're motivated, and we need to replicate that for our major counties, certainly up and down the Front Range, maybe Mesa as well. Look, Pueblo's a hot mess, always has been. El Paso's run pretty well. I used to have a lot of confidence in Jeffco and Arapahoe. We now have nut jobs running those elections, clerks and recorders, so we have problems there. But we can look at these on an individual basis and find solutions.